All right, lesson 6 out of 7. We've covered everything, right? We covered the mindset course, and now we cover the confidence and the skills, the small talk abilities, and how to frame that mindset going into the conversations. Now we start to understand when we start finding the right people, and we start finding people that are interested in being in our lives and people we want to keep around, or people we already have around in our life that we, for now at least, want to keep around. How do we set boundaries with them so we can still progress and become the people we want to be? Well, first we got to understand why boundaries are important. There's a little nice diagram of a boundary there. It's overlapping a little, but these people are still in their own space, and that's kind of where we want to be. People that want you, and people that will use you and can use you will use you. Understanding that is vital because it really doesn't take a lot of reflecting. If you've told somebody what you want and what you don't want, and they're still violating that, then they don't care. They will use you. And so if you have to second guess it or triple guess it, then it's not right. It's wrong. All right? I don't want it to be very you don't have to sit there and contemplate. Well, they used me a little bit. Well, they took advantage of me once or twice, but they're still good. No, they're not. You don't have limits to other people, right? Unless you define them. You don't have limits to other people unless you define them. Understand that, right? So to everyone else, right, you're the guy that is, or the girl that's the center of attention. You are that person. You're the one on the table chugging the keg that they can get to do the handstand chug, right? The person that is the life of the party when they want you to be and maybe not when you want to be. But if they've been throwing you around, they're going to keep throwing you around. Sometimes they don't mean to do this intentionally. Sometimes they do. But I want you to understand that if you're not sure of where you are and what you want to be in a lot of social settings and you feel uncomfortable, it's probably because you've been taken advantage of. And so setting boundaries keeps the respect. It's not that you're breaking away, it's just telling people that you know who you are and what you're comfortable with. And it gives a deeper understanding as well as an actual deeper respect for you as a person. And so you need to define your boundaries and where they are. Right? Going back to this picture, you can overlap a little, but knowing that you're still your own person is important. Most associate this as negative and don't do it. Putting your foot down is not negative as long as you do it in a way that's respectful and with meaning, right? So saying that what you don't do as much as you do, right? Saying don't instead of can't shows a deeper understanding. When you tell people I don't drink anymore, then it's not about how can we get him to drink. It's okay, this is interesting. This guy's changed. He knows what he wants. I kind of like this guy now. He knows a little bit more and he's sure of himself. People respect others that know themselves and are easy to access, right? Because they can go to you and they know that you're going to give them an honest answer because you're honest with yourself first. Knowing someone versus someone's actions versus someone's thought process, right? So that's the big difference to make. You might know your friends versus can you answer, in terms of what your friend's going to do when presented with, an absolute beautiful woman. Is he going to stick his tongue out and start panting at her like a dog? Is he going to confidently go up to her and address her? Is he going to run away and just talk about how amazing looking she is and never actually make a move? When you can predict their actions, that's a better step of knowing them than just knowing who they are or their name. And finally, knowing someone's thought process is the best way to connect and relate to someone. So, right, if it's your romantic partner, if they know, if you weren't here, how would you think about solving this problem? If they just knew that you had to figure out, a way to develop, a spiritual connection with them or guide them to figuring out, what type of spirituality they wanted to believe in. They had a bunch of different religions and they were trying to pick, the best one for them. If they could say, what would Caleb do? Or what would John do? Or what would Sarah do? Or what would your name do in this step? What would Jesus do? Like that's how they get the answers. And that's how they know you at the deepest level because they can predict your actions and not only that, but how you think about problems without you even being there. And that's how they feel confident in their relationship. So, right, especially I see this a lot so many times with dating. Oh, she's out at the party this week. She's out at the bar this weekend, right? I know she's not going to cheat on me. Versus knowing that she won't even think about cheating on me. That she doesn't even consider that as an option. That's knowing someone to the deepest level. A lack of boundaries and a lack of knowing people pushes people who care away and those who don't toward. Right? Think about that. People who care leave and people who don't care come toward you when you don't respect boundaries, because they know they can take advantage of you and they can have the value of you without any of the work and establishing any limits of their own. They can just use you as they would themselves. Effective communication in dating is how you start setting up these limits. Speaking honestly about how you feel, even if it's hard, right? I don't know if you're dating someone right now, maybe you just went through a breakup, maybe you're having struggles, or maybe you're trying to find the best path to go forward with your current relationship. But either way, when you're meeting new people, especially people maybe that want to enter your life, you need to have boundaries from the very beginning. And if you don't have it, you need to start establishing them now, because that's how you keep respect. And nobody's going to stay with you if they don't respect you, or come to you if they don't respect you. And you can't believe the truth on good things if you lie about the bad. So again, like we said, knowing someone's thought process means they can honestly say that you are very true to your word and true to your actions and your beliefs. And they're going to know exactly how you're going to handle any situation. The same thing, right? If they know that you're going to always give the honest answer and you're not going to lie to somebody because you're confident in who you are and you're not afraid of them judging you or thinking bad of you for giving a bad answer, then it's going to make people want to come to you more. Oh, he doesn't give a shit. So if I ask him how I look and he says bad, then I know it's the honest to God truth and he's not just trying to, win me over. That's how women think a lot of times, right? If you're a guy, you need to understand that, because you try to win someone over, but it means sweet talking to them and it's giving them all the power. Versus if you're being completely honest, then they know that they can respect you and you know when and if, you take comfort in certain situations. And if you don't, then you're not going to stay. And so they know that every moment you are invested is because you are choosing to be there. The I statements, right, are important, but you next to them instead of across. I puts you next to them in the booth, right, at the restaurant. If you're sitting next to them versus across the table, then you're having dinner with them, and you're not having dinner, against them or confronting them, like where you have to have the face-to-face. If you're just both staring forward at your food, I think, I would like to say, right, I leading the conversation with I is going to allow you to show somebody how you feel without making it confrontational. And it really helps for criticizing, right? If your partner's gaining weight, how would you say that? Well, I'd be honest, right? Because you don't want to lie about the bad. So I would say, you know what? I know this is really uncomfortable to hear, but lately I've just been having a difficult time feeling attracted to you as much, just because of, how it's been going with the diet and everything. And if you want to, get more in the gym with me, I'd love to take you with me, because I've been getting a bit fat too, and I'd love to make things better. But if you want to go with me, I really want to feel attracted to you again. And I feel like I've been losing a little bit of that just where things have been going. That's probably the hardest conversation you can have, because it's about someone's weight, especially if it's a woman, and it's a very, very sensitive topic. But you can have it as long as you frame it in the right way because of how it's making you feel. Because you don't want to not feel attracted to them. They know that. And so they're like, oh, wow, he doesn't feel attracted. He can't help that. So let me try to find a way to help him be that, because he doesn't want to walk away from me either. And he's being honest enough to let me know that. And if you say, I'm sorry, but this is just how I feel, then they can't come out to you, because that's how you feel and not, a fact. For every barrier, give as much reason as possible. Let them see your why. People aren't scared of boundaries, right, either, and it helps figure out who you want faster. For every barrier, let's connect this, right? For every barrier, give as much reason as you can as possible. I really want to go out with you tonight, but I have so much work to do, and I really want to commit myself to this work, because I really want to see ourselves, moving to Miami next year and having that penthouse in Brickell. Like, that's really a big goal for me. And so I want to commit now so that you can have the value with me later and enjoy that part of our life. It's going to let them see your why. They're not going to be mad at you. People aren't scared of boundaries. It helps them figure out who you want faster and who you are. Oh, this guy, he wants this future for me. He must care. So I'm not going to blame him. Why would I do that? He's just being honest about what he wants. If you're on a date and it's wrapping up and you're saying, hey, I just want to let you know, I don't think we have the most in common, and I honestly don't know if this is the best option for me to pursue right now. But as a person, I think you're probably one of the coolest people I've met. I just don't know if I think we'd make the best partnership. If you do that and you say someone or text that to someone, instead of wasting their time for the next 3 weeks, they're going to respect the shit out of you. They might not like it or respond the best in the moment, or they might ghost you, right? But they're going to respect you. And that's how you eventually get places. Handling disagreements, right? You're going to disagree, especially if you're bringing up weight, right? Or the fact that you don't like people. They're going to disagree a lot of times because people don't want to confront themselves. Or maybe you're already dating someone and you disagree on general things like who really should be doing the dishes tonight, or, who's really, carrying the weight financially in the relationship, right? It's going to be hard because, this is your partner. These are your friends, right? You don't want to upset these people. So it matters not how you disagree, but how you handle it. Because disagreements can breed arguments, but disagreements don't have to be arguments. Disagreements are neutral generally, but they can turn into arguments if you involve emotion in the wrong way. So if you setting expectations right, it hurts in the moment, but it's like insurance, right? Because you can always come back and say, well, this was what I was looking to get, right? I told you this. I'm sorry that it didn't work out, but I wanted you to know this in the beginning, and I'm sorry that you didn't maybe remember this, but that's why I stated that. So you can always go back and say, okay, well, I set that boundary. You crossed it. I'm sorry I have to leave you now, or that you had to leave me. Maybe it's happened to you in the past, but this is why. I said this. I have protection. And you knew this, and you still, violated the term. So like insurance, right? Somebody violated my car by running into me. I have coverage because I made that a known factor that if somebody hits me, like the state does, that they're going to have to pay you. Expectations around time, energy, and respect should be laid out before arguing, right? Or turning a disagreement into an argument. You're actually allowed to involve emotion more than you think. It can be a spiritful disagreement, but you should set expectations around the time, energy, and respect. Okay, let's take 10 minutes and really hash this out. I know you're probably going to be emotional. I'm going to be emotional. Let's actually just, I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. Let's not hold anything back and just see how we feel. Let's see how passionate we feel about this, if it's really as bad as we think. If you do that, you can argue. It's fine. You can get emotional at each other. But you both know that it's like, a football game. At the end of the day, the time's going to run out and you can walk away. Because you're setting it aside as a separate event from how you normally interact. So announce when you disagree. And then, if it's turning into an argument, say, hey, I didn't mean to argue here. I didn't want it to be a big emotional thing. I just wanted to let you know that's how I feel. And again, if you turn it into the I statement, it turns things around a lot better, right? And reminding them of that. Announce when you're disagreeing and why you're disagreeing. I would literally just say, I disagree with that. I just think that I personally feel that, X, Y, Z. And thank you for your input too. I really do. That was really important to hear. I just feel differently. And so a lot of times if you say it, right, I feel differently versus I don't think that's right. But if you say it, I feel differently, that's going to make people feel a little bit more at ease. And that this is truly your opinion and not, you're telling them how things are. The tone of voice, right? I feel differently versus I feel differently, right? The body language and sincerity matters when you're disagreeing. So being comfortable, right, practicing those things and understanding how your vocality and your tone plays out, right? If you raise your tone, you raise your voice, I'm getting angrier. I'm saying the same words, but I'm saying them louder, so you think I'm mad at you. Versus if I said it just like in a normal conversation, you would handle things completely different. So honestly, that's the best way to get around it. When someone's getting heated at you, talk in the same normal voice as if you were just sitting across from them having coffee. Honestly, even lower your tone. Hey, I understand that, okay? I really get that, and I'm sorry. But I feel differently on it. Versus, why are you saying things like that? I don't feel like that. I feel differently, right? You notice how much the conversation could change just based on how you speak? Disagreements handled well, without emotion as much, and often means agreements mean that much more. It's the same concept, right? You can't believe the truth if you lie about the bad. if your girlfriend or boyfriend, right, they're asking you how they look, and you say, you look good, even though they kind of look not very good in that shirt, they're going to not really value your input if you say that every time. But if you're handling disagreements well and they know they can disagree with you whenever and it's going to be handled good, they're going to do it more and they're not going to hold back secrets and find other company or other ways to let that loose, right? Which often turns into cheating in the long run, especially with romantic partnerships or with friends, they'll just kind of break away from you. So in terms of self-reflection, how often do you tell your friends, family members, or partners what you're not going to do or what you're not comfortable with. Why? Why do you think that happens? And especially, I want you to go through friends, family, partners. Why do you think it doesn't happen if it doesn't? How do you think the relationship is different with maybe the partner that you won't do it with versus your friends or family? How important do you think boundaries are to business decisions when money is involved? We can't invest in that. We can't afford that. That's not the best decision to invest in to grow our income. Do you think you have to have those boundaries? Do you think the most successful entrepreneurs know when to say no to opportunities that they're not sure of? Because I can tell you probably know that answer. And that's why we're developing this skill now in the relationships, because it's the best practice and you use it every day. So these are your action steps. First, this is the last slide. I know it's a lot of text, but stay with me. If you're dating, I'm giving you all the options here. If you're dating, be real with your partner. Hey, do you have 20 minutes? This is a big issue. Not a big issue. This is a big opportunity for discussion here, and there's really something I want to get off my chest. It's not, I'm not breaking up with you. It's not anything crazy like that, but I just need to have a conversation. So again, talk about your dream day. If you haven't came up with this plan yet or haven't heard this in the chats or from my videos, I want you to start planning out what your dream day looks like and how your partner is or isn't involved in that. Ideally is if you're already invested in them, but talk about like where you see yourself going. What does your dream wake up look like? Where do you live? Where are your future goals going to lead you? What does that day look like with them involved? And with your future plan, how can they be involved in that? Say, in the next 5 years, right, or the next year, whatever your plan is, I would ideally do, a year to 5 years. I really want to see us going in this direction. I really want to move to Miami. I want to move to Dubai. I want to move to Los Angeles, whatever it's going to be. I want to get that 3-bedroom house with you. I want to have the kid. I want to get things going. I want to be that supportive father. Do you agree with that lifestyle? Is that what you want too? And ask for their input. See if you line up on those things. If they agree, do they share the vision? Or are they hesitant? I don't know if I want a kid. I don't know if that's the best. Have you even had this conversation in any form yet? Like things like this need to be discussed because it's going to be a barrier later down the road if you fully invest with them and they're taking up your time and obligations and they're just not going to line up with you on those bigger values. You have to figure these things out. Are they hesitant? Why are they hesitant? If you're only dating them for their looks, they're not going to know what you want in the future. And so they're going to be recoiled when you talk about kids and stuff because they just wanted maybe a partner to not feel lonely. And so that's where you can really figure these issues out. Decide if you need to pursue the path or together and be with them, and be fully honest. Do you need to pursue the path on your own or do you need to be together with them on this? I want you to not say this to them at first. I want you to do all of this, right? And keep this to yourself. But be honest. I know you don't want a kid, but honestly, it's just really important to me that is something that, I have someday. I know you might not have it decided right now, but if that's going to be the case, then I don't think it's best for us to continue dating in that aspect. And so I don't want to, put any sort of pressure on you to feel like you have to conform to that. And so if you want the out, then there it is. But this is what I want. And don't back down. Put your foot down, like in a respectful way, and let them know that you have your values and that if you figured out what you want, say that it's important to you. And that's where you can really determine if you are the best fit that you can be. Some people never do this or do this a few years in and they waste all this time. But doing this as early as possible lets you have the answer. And if you're single, congrats, you avoided all this, right? So decide on whether dating is going to add to your development or if you need to revise your product, aka you, before you market it. Do you have more work to do? Think about the last lesson. Do you need to upgrade your tier to the higher part of the hierarchy before you go market it? Should you? Because you can actually get those dream fits on Tinder or the partnerships that you always want with the people that you think are the 10s if you actually create yourself to be a 10. So maybe dating's not right. Maybe you want to not have these hard conversations. And if you're still dating to hook up, I would seriously consider other options. For now, spend that energy just continuing with the community. Start on the financial side, right? And implement the steps. Go through the fitness course that's next, get the budgeting figured out, and we'll start working on your business because that's how you become the 10. If you're unsure of anything else, consistency will show the true colors for others and yourself. Consistency. Sticking to the mindset, the journals, reflecting on who you are, practicing these social habits and tips, finishing the rest of the community, and being consistent with yourself on your daily routine and your note taking, that consistency matters. Because partners are going to look for that regardless someday. So if that's still not developed, you need to invest more in it. Is this the guy that shows up every day and does what he says he's going to do? Or is this the girl that does that? I'm not going to commit to them until I know that. That's what your dream partner is saying. So prove that to yourself first. And then finally, I'll move my camera again here. Figure out these factors. Sorry, I moved my stuff around. But figure out these factors before pursuing to the next stage. Ask the community for support. With that said, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Rely on other people. If you don't want to have to figure everything out with a partner right now, figuring it out with people that are on the same mission, that are neutral, that are sharing in your thoughts and mindset is critical. So ask people in the chats, hey, have you dealt with this? How are you dealing with it now? How would you recommend I deal with it? That's where you get answers that aren't biased because it's not coming from somebody that is trying to hold on to you, right? So ask for support when you need it because you probably need it more than you think. With that said, we're going to go into the hardest lesson with this all said to try to make the big decision. What do you do from here on with social and dating relationships in this next chapter in the most transformative part of your life? It's a big decision to make, but I'm excited that you're here and ready to actually step forward to make it.